Hello and welcome back to the Rule of Two Star Wars show here on the C Cinema Reviews channel. You like that music? The intro music? That's right. I found some which kind of sounded like Star Wars, so we're just rolling with it. Anyway, if you don't know, this is our Star Wars show that we do weekly here on the C Cinema Reviews channel. We usually go over 3 topics. This week it's 2 topics. It was a slow week as far as Star Wars news and canon and things like that. So, with me, as always, is Misa Sista.
Hello.
And we're happy to be back. It's always good to talk some Star Wars, and I think we're gonna have some fun with our topics today. We have our first topic is the new Thrawn comic book, the issue number 5. I believe there are only 6 issues, so we are coming down to an end, which is a shame. I can't get enough of Thrawn. And then our second topic, which you know by the title of this video, or the title of the video on YouTube, is who would make the best dad in the Star Wars universe. I think we're gonna have some fun talking about that. There wasn't a lot. Solo's still in theaters. It's not doing as well as they would hope, obviously. But hey, drop something in the middle of summer. It'll be tough. Anyway, anything you want to tell the people?
No, not really.
Subscribe if you haven't, and definitely check out the other 16 episodes. They are on the C Cinema Reviews channel. There's a playlist there, so definitely check that out. If you ever want to tell us your thoughts on any of the topics we talk about, or a topic you think we should talk about, tell us that in the comment section down below. Or we have a Facebook page. It's facebook.com/C Cinema Reviews page. That link is in the description, and we're also on Twitter at C Cinema Reviews. That link is in the description as well.
You should really just record that and just play it at the beginning of every one of your videos.
But I like the spontaneity. Anyway, let me grab this comic.
It's good.
This is Thrawn, issue number 5, still being written by Jody Hoosier. One of those 3 options.
I'm pretty sure it's
probably the 4th option. And Luke Ross is the artist. I enjoyed it, but I guess
the art's good. I'm not enjoying this.
Really?
As much as I thought I would.
Okay, then why don't we start with that? What in this particular issue, let's say, what was the glaring issue you had with this particular issue? Was it?
I felt like we were supposed to know this Night Swan character, and if he was introduced in another issue of this series,
I believe it was issue 4.
They come out
very small.
I should have read this in a vacuum, all 6 of them. Bada bing,
yes,
bada boom.
definitely. I do.
But because I didn't, I had no idea who this Night Swan character is. And I thought this Night Swan character would be the guy who's on the front of the cover. He does not look like that guy.
No.
He's got some black circles underneath his eyes.
He's definitely like a sad clown.
Right. So if they introduced him in another one, I didn't remember because it's so far apart.
Yeah.
So I think I would remember this series more if I could read it all at once.
If you binged it, right. You binge read it. So your glaring issue, or the problem that you have, is that they're monthly, so it's a hard thing to remember because this has been going on for 5 months. To remember the first issue, you have to go back 5 months in your memory, because especially with comics, and since there's always you've always got new things to look at and new things to read and stuff like that, it's definitely you don't go back and read these issues.
Right.
I probably
no. I could, but I just don't, because why would I?
Exactly, because you've already done it. But I do think that let's just be honest, I do wish that we could get honestly, I wish that they would have just they would have written it all out, done all the art, and then boom, week, or 6 weeks in a row, drop one each week. That would be amazing. But Star Wars does have what, 5 or 6 different comic runs going right now. So if you could technically get like 1 issue a week, sometimes 2 issues a week from Star Wars. But with something like this, where it is a very it's a very thought-provoking and very cerebral story, more so than the other Star Wars stories.
I'm not seeing any, just from my memory, I don't see any through line between any of these, aside from like Thrawn and Eli Vanto.
This guy
moving up in the ranks.
Yeah, this guy actually was in the earlier ones. If you remember when they had the Tabana gas issue, that.
I vaguely remember that, but I can't imagine
Night
him.
Swan is the leader. I do think that the weird circles under his eyes, like, what's going on there? I'm like, did this dude just wake up and was like, circles, dark circles?
Right.
So he is a through line. It's just that back then he wasn't called Night Swan, and so that's probably why, like, when they said Night Swan in this one, it wasn't like, oh, that guy.
I did like Thrawn, though. I think there's more what we call Thrawning happening in this one. So I was happy about that.
Yeah, and even Eli Vanto does
Thrawning.
He definitely Thrawns some stuff. I really enjoyed that Colonel Wolf Yularen was this positions that Thrawn's got his ships in above this planet, like, they're very weird,
right?
Unorthodox.
Is he the guy who is he's the main guy in the duology, the Timothy Zahn duology?
No.
Who is that?
That is Admiral Pelion.
Yes, Pelion. Okay.
Yeah, that guy.
But I've heard of Yularen, so
Wolf Yularen is the dude who does all, like, in the Clone Wars, he's the dude who does all the voice at the very beginning of episodes or beginning of arcs. You know how it's like, chaos across the galaxy, things like that. He's that guy, and he's also in the Clone Wars. He just has a mustache. He's an admiral in that. In this one, he's a colonel. But I thought that was really cool. Well,
I don't know how the rankings work.
I don't know.
But yeah, I've heard his name before, so I was like, oh, I think I should know this guy. Yeah. So yay.
That wasn't the guy in the duology.
But I would rather be Pelion because I like Pelion.
Pelion is he's really cool. I do like Eli Vanto because in this issue, more so than any other of the issues, you do see him start to understand Thrawn's tactics and understand what Thrawn is doing a little bit more. I do like that Thrawn sent him to meet Night Swan without telling Eli Vanto who Night Swan was, so that he would get that genuine reaction to fool Night Swan.
Yeah, everything he did it had a reason. Yeah. Like, he could have told him, but he didn't because he wanted this other thing to happen, and it's very cool. One thing I do like about reading this, and it kind of comes from other things within, like, where Thrawn has showed up in other places. Right. Like, obviously, he's in Legends, and he's voiced very well by, is it Mark Thompson?
Mark Thompson, yes.
And then he's, again, in Rebels, voiced by...
the Mikkelsen brother, right?
Yes. Not Mads, but his brother. So...
the
Mr. Mikkelsen.
Yeah, Mr. Mikkelsen.
Don't know his first name.
Sorry.
But he's a great actor.
If you're listening to this, Mr. Mikkelsen, we're sorry.
I doubt he is. But he does...
one can hope.
The book, the audible version of the books where Thrawn is in Legends and Rebels, the voices are very similar.
Very good, yeah.
And so when you read this, you definitely read it in his voice, which is so good because he just has that cool, you can just hear the coolness.
Especially with his dialogue. I sometimes read his dialogue twice just to get, like, where the commas are. I just, like, in my mind, I pause for that second, how Thrawn would, just to take that breath or to, like, emphasize something.
Yeah, but I like that the way he talks is so, like, for me, iconic that even when I'm just reading it in my mind, I hear his voice.
Yeah, totally. Anything else? Did you?
As far as this issue goes, it was fine. You get a little more of.
It's more.
What's her name?
Governor Price.
Governor Price.
Yes, Arinda. You get to see your parents.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
You obviously get more of Eli sort of standing up for
Thrawn
and his actions. Got some good Cloak and Dagger commercial or whatever we call these.
Some poster, Cloak and Dagger posters.
But, I mean...
advertisements.
Yes. And X-23, I was actually gonna, like, write this stuff down. But anyway, back to this.
Yes.
It's fine. The art's fine.
It is since it is the
get a little tease of Vader.
Since
Emperor.
It is the second to last episode, it is kind of that lull right before the last battle. So it makes sense that it would be okay, yeah, but let's get on with it a little.
In the tease, you finally get to see his white uniform,
which is really awesome.
Yeah, like I've been waiting for that.
It's great to see him.
Forever.
Yeah, next month, super excited for next month because that is where we will get Thrawn against Night Swan, who are both... Night Swan is cerebral, but nowhere near Thrawn, obviously. So that will be fun, and then I don't know if
would you explain to the people what cerebral means?
Cerebral means that you're very intelligent. You think about things before you do them. Yeah. So yeah, when this comes out, what I want to do in a month, what I want to do is for both of us to read all 6 of them, and then kind of give our review. Like a short review on the issue, and then our review of the overall story.
Well, we'll see how that goes.
That's the plan. No promises, people out there. No promises, Mr. Mickelson. Sorry, but we'll try.
We'll try to remember your name next time.
We will. Yes, I will.
It's just that your brother was in a movie. That's why we know his first name.
He's in many movies.
Well, Star Wars movie.
I know.
And we don't see your face.
And a Marvel movie, yes.
Sure, right.
So. Well, we'll try to get that review of Thrawn 1 through 6 out for you, Mr. Mickelson, just for you, okay? Anyway, let's move on to the topic that is the main event, as Goldblum would say. Who would make the best dad in the Star Wars universe? Now, the way I took it is that who would raise their kids in the best way so that they would be, the next greatest hero in the galaxy. Who would be the second best option to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru is what I'm saying. Because Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru did great. Because Luke, no, I don't even think for Luke, but I think just for a kid, like let's all just be honest. I don't know if you're gonna pick Han Solo, but I wouldn't pick Han Solo because I see what he's done to his kid. Like his kid didn't turn out too great.
He did not do anything wrong. You leave him alone.
In Last Shot, he did have those. True. Those.
I finished that, by the way.
Yeah, we should have done a review.
But I already forgot.
So let's just get into it. You want to talk about Han Solo a little bit? How he did have those. No. He was second guessing himself as far as being a dad.
But that was his first time, and then he they should have had another one because then he would have been like, I'm
second.
A pro.
Second child's the best one.
Exactly.
You do best on the second one.
2 at the same time.
Twins. Yes.
Anyway.
Where's Jaina?
Anyway.
Where's Jaina Solo?
Anyway.
Your pick. What kind of if you don't want to do best dad for anyone in the galaxy, you can do. Who do you think would be the best dad for you? Who do you think would take you out, teach you how to shoot a blaster, and all that good stuff?
I guess I'll just go with the former option because I don't really want to talk about a best dad for me.
Okay, yeah.
We'll just go for like a hero or something.
Best dad for just a Broom Boy. Best dad for Broom Boy.
He needs a dad.
He needs a dad. Let's pick the best dad for Broom Boy. New title of the video: Best Dad or Broom Boy's Dad.
This is so...
Who should be Broom Boy's dad and why?
This is very hard.
It is. It is.
I don't really know. Like, because you can't pick, like, Anakin or, like,
True.
Mace Windu or, like,
True.
anybody from the prequel.
Well, yes, you can.
Except for Obi-Wan. Like, or Qui-Gon
Yes,
Jinn.
yes. I think you can. I'm just saying, like, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru were not Luke's parents, but they were Luke's parents.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Broom Boy needs a dad.
Okay, who... Okay. I'd go for either Bail Organa.
Oh, yes.
Or,
Yes, very good.
Jyn Erso's dad.
Okay, Galen Erso.
Galen Erso. Because, like, I mean, it depends on who the kid is, like, what situation they're in.
Broom Boy.
Because, like, yeah, I just think those guys are, like, good dads no matter the situation.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Bail Organa is, like, all the way to the right. Like, he's always trying to do the right thing.
And in Leia, Princess of Alderaan, we get a lot of that, like...
Yeah, he's very much on the side of the good guys.
He doesn't want, like, Leia to be a rebel at that time. He's like, you're too young. Like, you shouldn't be exposed to all this crazy...
But at the same time, what's his name?
Galen Erso.
He's willing to work for the bad guys to protect, and he's willing to...
Sabotage.
Lie.
Yes.
Like, learn to lie. That has always struck me as, like, a huge deal. When you learn to be something you're not.
Yeah.
In order to, you know, change the course of the galaxy, basically.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And risking his life.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I mean, they both die in, like, tragic deaths. But
yeah, but, like, Galen Erso, he
stopped
those
deaths totally give both of those girls, like, the oomph to get, like, to keep going, you know?
And Galen Erso, he tried to save the other scientists because they didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Those are two really good choices. I didn't think of those. I kind of went the opposite of you. I was like, who's going to be the guy who's going to raise Broom Boy to defeat Kylo Ren? And to me, I'm picking Cassian Andor. Because I think that Cassian Andor would be a great dad. Not only do I think that he would be a loving father, because, you know, he's just Cassian, and just the way that he cares about K2. Just imagine if that was his kid, or that was a kid that he got and he had to bring up. I think that he would be a great loving dad. I think he would teach him. You know, he wouldn't spare the discipline. I think he wouldn't spare the discipline. Hey, you do something wrong, like, you know... There's discipline there also, but the last thing to me is I think he would teach the kid that, you know, the realities of life at the right age. Obviously, you're not going to teach a kid at like 5 years old, hey, you know, life's tough,
shoot first.
Yeah, exactly. I think that he would teach the kid that the galaxy is a tough place. Like, sometimes you got to do stuff that you're not willing to do, but it is for the greater good. And I think that he would be the one to you know, teach Broom Boy, bring him up, not only be like, hey, you practicing your lightsaber skills, you practicing your force abilities, okay, but just remember, you come across that funky looking dude Kylo Ren, that thick dude Kylo Ren, you got to take him out, man. You got to take him out.
Yeah. Wow, I would have never thought of him.
I know.
Just because he's so, like, rough.
Yeah. Scruffy looking.
And also, like, I was going for, like, who are actual fathers
right.
in this thing.
Well,
I mean, he could be. We don't know.
Yeah.
Sure.
It ended too soon for them. Oh, what a shame.
Well.
If they would have gotten off, though, everybody would have been like, raise parents.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean...
I'll tell you what I think about yours. I think yours would definitely raise a... If it's Broom Boy, it would be like a male version of Leia. Just tough, never giving up, you know, bad to the bone, gonna fight the Empire, the First Order until they die, and even then, you know, fly through space to do it. I think that like those guys would
I just
definitely
think
create.
that they're both good, but in different ways.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Um.
I do
But
think that Galen. I mean, I'm not saying anything, about Bale, and Bale was definitely willing to sacrifice, but like Galen sacrificed everything,
yeah.
just to give her the chance, just to give
They
her
were
the
in
chance.
the same movie together.
Yes, which
And it's
is
so
great.
like heartbreaking when he's like, "I'm gonna go back to Alderaan,"
Oh yeah.
and you're just like, "No, man,
It's
please
like-
don't."
It's like just take a detour.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about like would you, what kind of character would Broom Boy grow up to be under the tutelage of Cassian Andor?
I think he would have been like real, like sarcastic, especially with like K2. Like,
Oh, Uncle
mother.
K2. Oh, that would be great.
Uncle Wanwo.
I know. Uncle K2.
Yeah, I think he definitely, or the kid would definitely be like, just not. I don't know. I don't think he's the best choice for a father, but he's an interesting choice. I think that he would. I don't know. He would, or she would turn out to be very like willing to do the dirty things,
Yeah.
Like he was.
It would be.
But
It would be interesting to see like how Cassian would do it, because in my opinion, like he would be like the single father, so that'd be kind of cool.
sure.
Bale and Galen both did have waifus for a bit there.
Right.
For Galen.
Yeah.
Which is tragedy. Yeah, I think that it would be cool because it would be like Cassian and K2 raising the kid more than Cassian and like a lady.
But what do you think of, like, obviously we can just skip over, like, because I picked 2 actual fathers in the universe.
Right. We don't know. We're like
right. No, like, just to go over what you think of the actual fathers in the universe. Like, I think in some ways, Han or Cassian would be like Han. Like, he just wouldn't know what to do a little bit because they're so not used to that life.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine, like, either of them just, sitting at home, going to the day job,
right,
doing, he's a smuggler and he's a rebel.
Well, if you remember, like, what Saw Gerrera did in that book with Jin, how he definitely, like...
Yeah, he was a father figure.
He was a father figure for a long time in her life, but he was a harsh one, like...
Yeah, I think they do fathers well
in
Star Wars, even though, like, it's hard to say with Han because we never really got to see him be a father. We just sort of read it.
Yeah, the reading is different, and it's very different because it's like you treat your kid like totally different when they're like an infant than when they're 2 years old, and you treat them totally different at like 5, and then totally different as a teenager.
Right.
So we don't really know like what Han did in those later years after he's 2. So that would have been super interesting because we do get, like, in The Force Awakens, that regret that Han has. But I never thought that Han was, like, ashamed of what he did as a father. I just always felt like he was like, man, it's super unfortunate that Kylo Ren did go down to the path to the dark side, and
even I get bored sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but then you have the other side of it, which is the prequels and like
Bale.
No,
Anakin's father just split.
That's what I always thought. I never took it as like he actually didn't have a father.
Yeah.
I thought like she was like, "There's no father because bro just skipped town or something."
Know.
But
it's a good thing it wasn't Watto.
No, if you look at like the prequels, the father figures in those movies are obviously like Bale and kind of,
and even Qui-Gon
are
for
the
Obi-Wan.
Jedi, because you look at them, and in like Clone Wars, there's much more of you see that relationship between
Obi-Wan,
Padawan and Master basically, and so like you get that sort of like father figure or mother figure depending on who's the master.
I do wish that like Yoda was kind of a little bit more of that father figure in the prequels, because in the original trilogy, he's not a father figure. Obi-Wan is definitely like.
But in the third one, when Anakin is like going through stuff, he
Right.
goes to Yoda,
Yeah.
and that's
Which is
for
great.
me. I really like that scene because it's like everybody can go to this guy and be like, "Hey, man, going through some stuff."
Yeah, and
you know?
and like I'm not trying to get on a tangent, but like that's something that I always thought that the prequels maybe could have done better, where it's like Yoda and Mace Windu and those guys on the Jedi Council, all of them, like all the other ones but Obi-Wan, they all were kind of very stiff in their approach to Anakin and to some of the other. I think he was very stiff in their approach, but like you see Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan was definitely more like open. He was definitely more of that friend father.
Qui-Gon was more the father to Anakin because Obi-Wan and him, they're much more friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right.
Which
they're stiff, but there's potential. That's why in the Clone Wars that you see that a lot more. That more of like father son, father daughter, mother daughter, any combination. But so yeah, but I think Star Wars does parents good. Even though I guess he is, like, we could talk about the worst father in Star Wars.
No, I am your father.
Right. But before he turned, he seemed like pretty loving to Padme. Like, this is great. Okay.
He's like, no, because I'm so in love with you.
So, like, before he turns, like, I think he could be a fine father.
He had the potential to be a good dad.
And then it just went so far downhill.
And she, like...
took his kid's hand off. Like, the whole thing.
Let him fall.
Yeah. I mean, he could have caught him.
He totally could have caught him.
Like, boy, you're coming with me.
Yeah, he could have done Snoke stuff and just caught him.
Right.
Anyway.
But
I think you had two really good options. I thought about Bale for like a split second, and I was like, no, I'm gonna go edgy. I didn't think about Galen though. It's a great one. I do think that Galen,
I did think of for a second Bodhi Rook.
Oh, okay.
He was like,
he was a pilot.
He was a third for me, just because I like the way he's like. I don't know, just something about him is very like.
Now I didn't even think about Lando. Is there a reason, like, you didn't go with Lando?
Like, so many.
He wants the sabacc table.
No, he's
Lando's
a
bachelor.
Like Han.
He's
like Han. Like, even when, like, spoilers for Last Shot, he
falls in love.
He falls in love. And even then, I'm just like, do I buy this? Because I don't feel like I do.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But
it was definitely like it was kind of funny to see him just be like, it was very much Jack Sparrow was like stirrings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even then in the Legends duology, he kind of there's somebody he likes.
Yes.
Or he's in business with, and then they kind of take it down this road of like, are they together? I think they're together.
Yeah.
And then.
Lando's like James Bond. He's always gonna always be a bachelor.
I don't feel like I think Han he was kind of the perfect anomaly of like he's a smuggler but he can turn soft. But Lando, you can't
And plus, like with Han, you got Uncle Chewie, like the best hugging machine ever. Your kid's never.
I think Chewie would be a great dad.
Probably, yeah. Definitely.
Like, I've never seen those, like, Christmas specials with his kids, but I'm sure he'd be a great dad.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure. I know he has a family. I don't know if he has kids, but that's one I didn't even think of. Oh, man. Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's pretty good. Anything else we want to say to the people, Mr. Mickelson?
If you're a dad, happy Dad's Day.
Happy Dad's Day to all the fathers watching. Hopefully we have
especially you, Mr. Mickelson.
And especially if
you're a father.
I should have my phone, but I turn it off so that it doesn't distract.
I know Mads Mikkelsen is a father, so
happy Mads Happy Mads Mikkelsen Day, Father Galen Urso.
Yes. So.
You fathered a great daughter, and she went on to potentially, save the galaxy.
Movie. I'm sure you fathered a fine child as
Child?
well. I don't know what
I'm sorry, we don't read the tabloids.
No.
Anything you want to say to those fathers?
No, happy Dad's Day.
Happy Dad's Day. Hope you don't cut off your kids' arms. We hope you have a great
Just a hand. Wrist up.
We hope you have a great Father's Day. If you're not a dad yet, go ahead and celebrate with your dad. If you don't have your dad anymore,
just be
neither
Bail
does
Organa
Broomba,
or someone like him. Don't be Darth Vader.
Yeah. Everybody's got a father figure, so definitely tell them Happy Father's Day.
Mm-hmm.
We thank you so much for watching this episode. We would like to hear your thoughts on who would make the best dad in the Star Wars universe for Broom Boy, or for yourself, or for Broom Girl. Change the gender. I don't care. So definitely tell your thoughts down there or on Facebook or Twitter.
Keep it loving, guys.
Yeah, keep it loving. I mean, this is I don't know if there's if this is a topic.
If you can find something in this to hate,
yeah,
I think you just want to hate.
Exactly.
So.
If you're hating on somebody else's dad, their wannabe dad for Broom Boy, then okay, just whatever. You're not a true fan. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much. Definitely check out the Thrawn comic. It's been really good so far for me, at least. This is definitely a lull episode, not LOL, LUL, whatever that means. It's, the calm before the storm. But definitely check it out. We thank you again so much for watching this episode. We hope you, stick around, watch us next week. May the Force be with you.
Always.